When you think of Saudi Arabia, what comes to mind? Endless deserts, blazing heat, and of course, oil. Lots and lots of oil. But what if I told you that this desert kingdom is trying to do the unthinkable? Turn one of the hottest, driest places on Earth into a lush, green paradise. It sounds like science fiction, or at least a PR stunt. But the scale of what they're building, it's very real. And it could change not just Saudi Arabia, but the future of desert cities around the world. Saudi Arabia is on a mission, not just to change its image, but to completely reinvent itself. The goal? To go from an oil-dependent desert kingdom to a global leader in green energy, sustainability, and even forest creation. That's right, forests in the desert. Backed by hundreds of billions of dollars, the country is launching some of the boldest environmental projects we've ever seen. And they're not starting small. So let's break down how one of the driest countries on Earth is trying to go green. It all starts with the capital, Riyadh. Right now, it's a sprawling, concrete-heavy city in the middle of the desert. But that's about to change. Fast. Enter the Green Riyadh project, part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan. Its goal? Plant 7.5 million trees across the city by the end of the decade. That's not just cosmetic. The plan aims to lower city temperatures by up to 15 degrees Celsius in some areas, cut carbon emissions by up to 6%, and increase green space per person by 16 times. To do that, they'll line 16,000 kilometers of roads with trees, build over 3,000 neighborhood gardens, and create a massive green belt around the city. The cost? $23 billion over 10 years. But here's the catch. Planting trees in the desert is hard. Keeping them alive? Even harder. Riyadh gets less than 4 inches of rain per year. So how do you keep 7.5 million trees alive? Saudi Arabia's answer? Build one of the largest wastewater recycling systems in the region. They're scaling up from 90,000 cubic meters of recycled water a day to over 1.7 million. They've also picked 72 tree species that are built for survival. Hardy, drought-tolerant, and well-adapted to the desert climate. But Green Riyadh is just the beginning. The real showstopper is the Saudi Green Initiative, or SGI. Launched in 2021, SGI aims to plant 10 billion trees, restore 40 million hectares of land, and cut carbon emissions by 278 million tons per year by 2060. That's an area larger than Japan. So far, they've planted 43 million trees and restored nearly 100,000 hectares of degraded land. Already, that's more than the size of New York City. And they're just getting started. But this isn't just about land. It's about energy, too. Saudi Arabia has already connected 700 megawatts of solar and wind energy to its grid, enough to power over 100,000 homes. 17 more renewable projects are in the pipeline, with a total capacity of nearly 14 gigawatts. They're also investing in wildlife. In 2022 alone, over 1,200 endangered animals were reintroduced across 15 protected areas. And then there's hydrogen. Saudi Arabia plans to produce 600 tons of clean hydrogen every day by 2026 in the city of Neom. That would make it the largest green hydrogen project in the world. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, and it might be the boldest of all. It's called Neom, a planned $500 billion smart city rising from the sands near the Red Sea. And part of Neom's vision? To be the first city in the world powered entirely by renewable energy. Inside Neom is the Line, a 170-kilometer-long linear city with no cars, no roads, and zero carbon emissions. The buildings? Mirror-finished vertical walls stretching 500 meters high. The transportation? Underground high-speed transit. And above ground, pure green space. Neom is meant to be a living lab, where Saudi Arabia tests the technology, design, and infrastructure of a green future. Some say it's visionary, others say it's delusional, but either way, it's unlike anything the world has ever seen. And if that wasn't enough, they're also building the biggest urban park on the planet. It's called King Salman Park. and it will cover 16.6 square kilometers. That's 4 times bigger than Central Park in New York, 7 times bigger than Hyde Park in London. Built on the old Riyadh airbase, it will feature 1 million trees, water features, botanical gardens, entertainment zones, art complexes, and even a skydiving center. More than $1 billion has already been invested. Opening is set for this year. So why is Saudi Arabia doing all of this? The answer is simple. Oil won't last forever. These projects are part of a plan to diversify the economy, to create jobs, build industries, and attract investment outside of fossil fuels. From ecotourism to conservation tech, they're trying to rebrand the kingdom from oil-rich to future-focused. It's economic strategy wrapped in environmental transformation. And if they succeed, the environmental benefits are huge. More trees mean better soil, more shade, and cleaner air. They help absorb carbon, a big deal for one of the world's top oil producers. Restoring land also boosts biodiversity, giving animals and plants a second chance in a harsh landscape. In the long term, Saudi Arabia could become a global hub for desert greening, exporting its tech and expertise to countries all over the world. But pause for a second and imagine if it actually works. If they really can plant 10 billion trees, power cities with nothing but sun and wind, and build thriving ecosystems where there used to be only sand? What if the desert wasn't a dead end, but the beginning of something new? Could we green the Sahara? Could we rewild the Australian outback? Could the world's harshest places become tomorrow's most vital ecosystems? That's the dream behind Saudi Arabia's transformation. It's not just about rebranding, it's about rewriting the rules. If they succeed, it may not just be a win for Saudi Arabia, it could be a blueprint for the rest of us. But let's be honest, not everyone's convinced. Critics point to water usage, asking how sustainable it really is. Others say it's greenwashing, investing in nature while still pumping oil. There are also tech risks, flying taxis, robot-run cities, desert hydrogen. Some of these ideas are still untested. And from an ecological view, adding greenery to a desert might disrupt fragile ecosystems or create new ones with unintended consequences. So here's the big question. Is this a blueprint for the future or just a mirage in the sand? If Saudi Arabia pulls this off, it could redefine how nations adapt to climate change and how deserts are seen across the globe. But if it fails, it could go down as one of the most expensive environmental gambles in history. What do you think? Is this the real deal? Or a green PR campaign with oil underneath? Let us know in the comments, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the world's most ambitious megaprojects.